rain saturates the ground so much, big swirl. Oh, you know it was. You know it was right now. Anyhow, this is some of the... My God! He's coming after me!
Hello?
Look out!
Help!
Come on!
Oh my God! Call the police! Don't call the police!
This gangster, $9 million he took, and a company that's still not stable. To this gangster, now he warned the CEO of the Hair Club for Men. Send-off in a dinner party. I hope I didn't choke on it. But anyhow, this was where Ackerson says he's fighting for the people in Detroit. This is at the same time people being thrown out in the street and being evicted or lost everything. But anyhow, Colin Powell showed up. He needed Chevrolets. I guess the Navy endorses people beating up women and children. AOL Steve Case attended this dinner party, and he's going to fight for the people in Michigan and Detroit. Powell's probably driving Chevys, but does the Navy endorse violence against women and children? Only if it's a dealership that sells the most imports that directly competes against you. Is the one.
General Motors, yes, the company is out of bankruptcy. Yes, it is making money again. Yes, it is.
Now, how is it making money? It still owes the American taxpayer over $40 billion. Who's really making money? Dan Ackerson, the Carlyle Group, people in Washington, Colin Powell? Who's really making money? It owes $40 billion and cannot...
That will play out.
Okay, so now he's talking about technologies, just like the electric car, that Nissan Carlos Ghosn sold $10,000 less than the Volt to knock us right on the market. Did I mention that Carlos Ghosn and Nissan France got a $1.6 billion from the Obama administration, from Department of Energy Stephen Chu? Correctly for the people in Michigan and the people in the auto industry. We gave a $1.6 billion loan for a battery technology plant in Tennessee to Nissan, French, partly owned by the French in Japan, to compete against us to put an electric car on the market called the Leaf. Now the Leaf is $10,000 less than the GM Volt. Well, they need to move faster, be more competitive. They need to outrun the Leaf by Carlos Ghosn, Nissan France. Well, I don't want to do that. Looks like he can hardly walk down the hallway. How fast are we talking about? Now here's Renault France Nissan's Leaf. It's $10,000 less than the Chevy Volt. They got a loan at the time that the industry was melting down in America. This is the plant. Now this is at the time that the auto industry's cooking. It's melting down. We're opening up a plant. They chopped off about 1,500 employers. They got a loan for $1.6 billion to compete against our electric car and sold it cheaper. And now we got to give incentives to the American people that buy the Volt, which is like giving them another bailout. It's $41,000. The Nissan Leaf's a lot cheaper, and they're claiming the car that goes the furthest on electrical charge wins. How serious our government was about these new technologies. It never really were, because the oil industries basically want us completely dependent because, see, the oil industries start wars globally. Now, are you going to buy this car? $41,000 and the economy's still grinding, and you're not even sure about the technologies and the maintenance and who's the $50 billion bailout company has had 4 CEOs in 18 months. It's kind of like changing a tire in the middle of an earthquake. I want to be a CEO so they can put big press release. Ackerson states, and I quote, "We need to be an attack culture, not a defending culture." And then he refers himself as a graduate of the U.S. Navy. Does that mean the U.S. Navy, as well as Colin Powell and anyone that can get a Chevy, condones and supports an assault on women and children, minor women and children, on a public sidewalk in Arizona in John McCain's country, which was fully aware of it, involving a handicapped child? An assault on another male and hit another male and it grabbed a woman by the breast? Is that the sickness of who GM is? That's not just the GOP, that's the Obama gangster. Because what I found out is to hire a gangster, you got to pay big money and you got to use bailout money and you got to use taxpayers' money now to hire the big time gangsters because they want a lot of money for what they do. But I guess he's talking about a culture where they assault and attack people. I guess he was referring to Mike Jackson's AutoNation. The GM dealership at the time of the meltdown was permitted to go out there as a GM salesman in front of our GM dealership and assault 3 minor children, one that was handicapped. Oh my God! And hit another guy that was 4 foot nothing and hit a fourth gentleman. Well, John McCain, that he was a supporter of the John McCain campaign. Now, you gotta have a brand name gangster that people are familiar with. The GOP always put up McCain. Now, McCain's had files on this assault and known about this a long time. It produced other videos that are on the internet, on my site. Even McCain's people attacked me for even bringing up the assault. And now he's gonna pledge an allegiance to Danny Ackerson? Oh, McCain will cover it for you. See, what I found out is when you have gangsters, you have to have brand names and you got to pay big money, and the taxpayers have to pay for all of it. You know, he declined to talk about it. He set a ground rule that you can't talk about it because they don't want to be responsible or committed to do anything because they're part of the American government, which means we don't tell you anything and we're not going to take any real responsibility. And John McCain's backing this act because John McCain will back any multinational corporation. He is CEO of General Motors. Remember, I don't know any other corporations has 4 CEOs, borrowed $50 billion, can't pay the money back, paid little or nothing it back, and refuses to answer any question when they're getting ready to go back to the IPO. ICP does not take cases for anybody other than black people, period. And thesis now is attack culture. So I guess that means John McCain, but anyhow, we asked McCain to send this complaint to Danny Ackerson to settle this, but because the Washington car pimp is the one that attacked us and everyone has to buy cars from him, McCain wouldn't do nothing for us, but then Danny Ackerson is going to back him now. Danny Ackerson is going to back him all the way. This guy is street trash garbage, another corporate motherfucker. AutoNation. This is the actual owner of the dealership, the Power Chevrolet dealership in Peoria, Arizona, that permitted their salesmen at one dealership to threaten and arrest us. The second was to assault us and attack us. This is the most evilest corp-owned piece of shit in Washington. Executive offices stand with this piece of garbage. This is Chris Henderson fired, but anyhow, Danny Ackerson is CEO of AutoNation. AutoNation goes under many brands. It's the largest car dealership in America. They sell every brand. This is the guy that is the problem. But this is the pimp. This is the guy that goes into Washington and it's got people on their knees giving them oral sex for leather seats and chrome wheels. His salesman, a 250-pound man, can run a picket line and hit handicapped kid and push several pieces and hit several people and grab women by the breast. How sick is this guy? But he's the Washington car pimp. He can go under. So the best thing I can tell you, if you're going to buy a vehicle anywhere in America and you come across these brand names, go steal a car. Risk going to jail. AutoNation, you see the guy in the middle? That's Wayne Hayazia. He's like a crater-faced garbage man that looks like a dwarf. He's the power structure of the on many of the GM dealerships as well as the Chrysler dealerships. They picked up the slack. So now they're selling more imports against the Americans, the ones that have the assault video that support sexual violence and assault on children. Remember that dealership called AutoNation, Mike Jackson? But it's a share. What is GM doing about it? Nothing. Danny Ackerson's nothing but another little hoe. Basically, Mike Jackson's and the import taking over the entire industry. And then look over here on the sidewalk, over towards this way. Here comes Gotti. Oh my God! Here comes Gotti. Debbie, Gotti, you look on the sidewalk. Forget them. Here comes Gotti. Hey, aren't you the guy that works for John? He's over here. Forget them. Hey! What happened? He's hit me!
They hit me! Call the cops!
Film it!
911!
No, you didn't! You came running after me!
You did that!
You come running after me!
Can't do that! I can't do that! Tell her to do it! Tell her to do that! Tell her to do that!
Get on your knees! Over here, forget them. Hey! What happened? He's hit me!
They hit me! Call the cops!
When they come out here and they charge me?
You can't do that, okay?
Oh, you mean your charge people? You mean Max? Let me see if I got this correct. Max is allowed to come out here and charge me? I got videotape. Buddy,
That's the definition of fashion.
you want to be on YouTube?
Sure.
What?
Ah!
Man, he's
Oh my
sick.
God, look at that! Oh,
Oh my
Oh my
goodness.
God!
Look at
What's it
that.
say?
oh God!
Oh